Director Osgood Perkins returns to the horror genre from his massive success, at least critically and fan-wise, with Long Legs, with this new Stephen King adaptation, The Monkey, or as Inspector Clouseau would call it, The Minky. This is an adaptation of a short story from the Skeleton Crew collection that people probably know it because if you remember the Skeleton Crew cover, it referenced this story. It is a horror comedy, much more comedy than horror, about two twin brothers who come into the possession in their youth of this monkey that bangs a drum, a mechanical monkey that bangs a drum, wind-up toy, that every time you wind it up and it bangs the drum, something really horrible happens to somebody in your orbit. Not to you, not to the person who turns the key, but to somebody nearby. So I'm not going to tell you the whole story. As youths, these kids realize this and say, wow, this is really bad. They throw it down a well and they're like, okay, fine. We're never going to tell anybody about this and nobody else is going to get hurt by this. Years later, the monkey shows up again and people start dying and the brothers have to figure out how to stop it. What will be left of them? Who will survive and what will be left of them? So I went into this, I'd seen the trailer for this and it didn't really look good to me. It looked a little too jokey for me. And enough people I knew and trusted said, oh no, this is really good. You should go see it. So I went to see it. And about 2 minutes in, I was like, oh no, this is what I feared this was going to be. I really did not like The Monkey. I thought The Monkey was terrible. And now a lot of people love this. It's got a lot of gore and it's got a lot of kills and it's got a lot of Final Destination-like kind of kills. But I need more than that in a movie. And the writing was horrible. The dialogue was horrible. It didn't make much sense a lot of the time. And yes, I know I'm talking about a film about a mechanical monkey that when it bangs a drum, people die in really gruesome, elaborate ways. But still, there were just things that were there for effect and there as a joke and didn't make any sense. Physically, things didn't make sense in space. There would be a scene where something would happen and I'm like, why was the person standing there? This doesn't make any sense. And it's all like kind of over the top and ridiculous. And I really did not like it at all. Like if I was alone in the theater, I probably would have walked out of this not very far into it. Probably, I don't think I would have made it 10 minutes in if I was watching this alone because I was just, life's too short and I got boxes of stuff I want to watch and a lot of movie in the theater I would like to see. And I took a chance on it. I went against my gut and I realized I usually shouldn't go against my gut. Sometimes you watch a trailer and it's just a bad representation of a movie. It's trying to sell it as something it's not. This one doesn't. Osgood Perkins has been getting a lot of accolades for what he did with Long Legs, which was a movie that I was really liking up to a point, and then it did something, and after that I thought it was really not good. And I don't know if I'm going to take a third shot on an Osgood Perkins movie if they're going to be like this. It's one of those things where it's like you could make a serious good horror movie or you could just treat it like a joke and that like horror movies are beneath you and just make it silly and dumb and be like, haha, isn't this all dumb and our horror movies dumb? That is kind of the vibe I got with this. Yes, it had ridiculous gore, but it was just there for the sake of it. Like it was dumb. It was way over the top and I didn't find it funny. I found it mean-spirited most of the time and just not interesting. And I'm like, oftentimes I'm like, why is that person talking like that? Why is that person acting like that? Theo James as the twin brothers really pulls it off. He's a British actor, which I could tell, faux American actor, but British actor, he's good in each of the two roles. He's diverse enough in each of the two roles where somebody might actually not realize that it's the same guy in both. But even that, it's just over the top. I really didn't like it. I'm going to just talk in circles at this point, but I know most people like this. Apparently, I looked it up and I read the synopsis of the original Stephen King short story, and this bears very little resemblance to that. In the most broad strokes, it's similar, but it's really not the same idea. And apparently there have been other versions of this, whether they're short films or whatever made in the past. I would really curious to watch those. I would have liked to have been before I recorded this. I just didn't have time to see how somebody else treated it seriously because it was not a comedic short story from my understanding. And this could be done really well and seriously. And as it is, it just feels like a kind of a silly comedic take on Final Destination, which is a series of films I love and I would much prefer to be seeing. There is a new one on the way. So your mileage may vary, but like I say, I don't know if I'm going to take a shot on the third Osgood Perkins movie after getting burned twice.